What's going on, guys? What's up, everybody? Welcome to the ITG Gamecast. Each and every week, we meet live over on our YouTube membership channel. That's right, Inside the Game over on YouTube. You can't miss us. What is it? Inside the Game Official over on YouTube? That's what it is.
I believe that's it.
Yeah, I knew I was getting there somewhere. Each week, I'm joined by none other than the one and only, all the way from England, Steve Radley. Steve, how are you, buddy?
Not too bad, thank you.
That a boy, that a boy. And you see his pretty face each and every day alongside mine over on ITG Daily. That is none other than Scott Savage. Scott, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, a lot more face lately, but changes. We're growing, we're evolving, we're getting better.
There you go. There you go. If you want to join in the conversation, all you have to do is join us for $4.99 over on our YouTube member. Become a member, help support us, join in the conversation, and it goes a long way to support what we do and grow as well. But if you don't want to do that, you can always catch us later, a week later. That's right. You can catch this a whole week later and then join the conversation that way. But if you want to be a part of it live, then there's only one way to do it. Guys, today's subjects are simple. In and out, like we did last week. Topic of the show this week, which is a pretty interesting one. Some interesting things going on. And then, of course, we're going to wrap up with what we are playing. But first, let's get into in or out. Scott, do you have something that you're in on, all hot and in on, or are you out of it? You're just tired of it. You don't want it anymore. You're done. Didn't like it. What do you got?
Yeah, for this time, unfortunately, I do have an out. I am just about done with a certain category of posting of conversation. It's a little bit of a nebulous. Let me try and pin that down. There's a very big ongoing video game discussion topics happening right now, and I think it's very healthy that everybody has a voice and is able to talk about these things, but
Sure.
with that comes the negativity, and that's what I'm out on. I can't handle the amount of negativity when one thing changes from what you think is going to happen, whether that was well informed or not, and now the world is ending, the sky is falling. I can't handle that kind of that exaggeration anymore. Everybody just needs to chill out. These are all video games, and we all have a good time.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of that going on around right now, right? Especially with the whole Xbox situation, which we talked about on last week's live show, and the fact that they could be bringing first-party titles over to PlayStation, which isn't that good for more people to play those games? But then you get the negative side of it. The people are they just jumped all over it, right? So I can definitely see it, man. Toxicity is definitely a problem. I would love to see that change and go away, but I just don't know if that's actually ever going to happen. But
no, that's so tight to the human experience. I don't think I'm ever going to enjoy that part.
I'm afraid so. I'm afraid so. Steve, what are you up to, buddy? What you got in and out? Anything?
I'm gonna say out, and it's due to Insomniac X got Spider-Man 2, like an update for the Game Plus and more things. Is coming out March the 7th.
Yeah.
Well, I'm out because I've already played the game, and that's what I'm finding with all these patches on games that's coming out 6 months later or a year later that makes the game complete.
Yeah.
What we do, unfortunately, we put the hours in, we play the game, we review it, we move on to the next one.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you think it's always that little bit too late?
It's
to
funny
have these patches and the proper content to make the game playable.
So Scott and I had this conversation earlier. I think it was on last week's show, one of ITG Dailies. That here we go. Now we're getting a much requested feature from Insomniac, right? Where players wanted the new game plus, but we beat that months ago. Are people looking to dive back in now? Right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Where if it came out on day and date, would have people just continued and rolled right into their new game plus experience and continued on with that game? I hear something like that for Hogwarts Legacy is on its way now as well. That they're looking to do that. They're looking to add a photo mode. I'm like, man, I already beat that game.
It has been 1 year since release, at least 1 full year. Maybe that is enough. I haven't finished up that game, so that would actually catch me. But I'm in the minority, I think, of people have not finished Hogwarts. You said, Steve, we go from one to the next to the next to the next, like a honeybee.
And I appreciate it if it's one of these ones that you just spend all your time. I know people play like Gods of War or Horizon, and they just keep playing it over, or even The Last of Us. How many times people have played it 100 times? But for me, it's like I've moved on from that now. And it would have been nice when we had it so we can sort of discuss it or play it, but it's something I probably won't put back on my console again now. Unless there was a big DLC or an extra fill-in or a brand new bit of content.
Well, that's the other side of it too, right? There's the and more.
That's what I'm wondering. What does that mean exactly? How much of an update is there to the New Game Plus? Is it enough to make you really want to go through? Is it different enough? Dark Souls has done things like that in the past where they've added enough that it is worth, especially if you're a masochist like you enjoy Dark Souls, there's a reason to go back, even if there's nothing new. But I was wrapped up when I think I disagreed with you at the time, Drew. I liked the idea of New Game Plus in specific regard to Ghost Runner 2.
Yes.
And the Talos Principle 2, I believe that has one as well. Those have now just, or at least Ghost Runner has now just come out, but
man,
it's a little too late for me now. The timing's just not right. I just can't justify the download. There's another issue. My internet is not good enough.
Sure, yeah. Well, that's the other side of it altogether too, right? Is the fact that we beat this. Steve and I both platinum Spider-Man 2. We're done. We moved on.
That's thorough.
Yeah.
Right? Like we couldn't do anything else in that game. I already got the platinum. I did all the side content. I've done this, that, and everything. Yeah. I'm not alone on this, right? Steve has done it, and everybody that I know who has played the game has done the same thing. Now you want to introduce New Game Plus. Does that come with new trophies?
Suits.
Yeah, we're gonna get new suits, more photo opportunities, right?
Does it disable the car chases? Because I hear that's not a good part of the game.
They did burning buildings.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
Putting fires out.
There's a couple things, right? But does it
How
come
about
with
a cat in a
DLC?
tree? That's got to be the penultimate.
Yeah. Well, and then the other thing is too. We also talked about is there more Venom content on the way? Because the Tony Todd, the actor for Venom, said they didn't use a lot of my lines. Where are those lines, right? Does that tie in? Definitely a lot of questions. So both of you negative Nellies here, I'm going to go on to the other side and going, I'm in. You know what I played on the weekend? I played a little game, a little beta came out called Skull and Bones. And to my pleasant surprise, I went back to play more. And then I went back to play more. And then I went back to play to find out it was over, and I was disappointed. But I was having a good time. Like, yo, I want to keep grinding. I was actually enjoying the game more than I anticipated. We should be receiving our codes hopefully soon this week, and then diving into that back end to give our full impressions. But what I did play, man, I was having fun. Like, that was cool. It was a good time.
I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, I was.
Do you know what?
Really?
I was actually saying, because that is actually one of the games that I was playing at the weekend as well. Because it was only for the weekend, I believe, wasn't it? I think it was Friday to the Sunday.
Yeah.
So I managed to get in there. And first off, I don't have my team tag all over the screen. So you can actually see what you're doing. And I have to say, this is something before I knew it, I was really getting into it. And I wanted more. But I was running out of time as well. But it's fun. It's just something about it. I quite enjoyed just getting in the ship, go get some crafting materials, and then upgrade to a bigger ship, get your cannons, and it's like,
it's got the
this is cool. Yeah, it's really cool.
It is cool. Like, there's definitely some. Oh man, I've just had a little bit more touch of Sea of Thieves in here, right? Like, there's definitely, but we'll get into that more.
I'm still gonna call it Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, I know.
An unfortunate amount of times.
I
apologize to everybody at Ubisoft and Rare alike. I'm sorry.
No, but it was definitely, I was in on the beta this weekend. I thought that was really cool. That was a good time. But let's move on. Topic of the show. It's a big one because why? Helldivers 2 took the world by storm. Literally by storm. It is everywhere. Here's the unique feature though that comes with it. Day and date, PlayStation and PC. Something PlayStation has never done before. My question then becomes to you guys, do you think this is the future for PlayStation, for Sony, to then push more titles to Steam and PlayStation 5 on launch day? Because here's what's happened. Helldivers 2 is now not only PlayStation's most successful PC release, it has doubled the record of the previous big hit, God of War. That's right. Helldivers 2 has reached a peak concurrent player count of 155,000, almost 156,000 over the weekend. Concurrent players,
and that's ahead of God of War even. God of War being the biggest flagship item on PlayStation's roster right now.
Right, exactly. But it came later. That's if you get in on the wave and the hype that you've built for it, right? So you got God of War Ragnarok comes out, smashes his numbers, right? Does fantastic. But then you give it to Steam players a year later, 6 months later, it's lost that momentum.
Yeah.
Now, Helldivers 2, I honestly didn't
lost
see
its
this
steam.
coming. Yeah.
You left that one on the
Horrible.
table.
I'm so sorry, everybody. Go ahead, Steve.
Sorry.
Do you think this is the future? Should they do this?
I think they should. I think then it's win-win because then you're keeping the people with consoles happy, and then people with. I'm sure they're going to have a high-end PC regardless, and I'm sure a lot of people do. But then they can play it and enjoy it all at the same time. Do you know? And the other thing is, like you were talking about the figures. I believe it's because it's a genre of game. Gods of War, as you know, single player. That's it. You know,
Mature.
Helldivers is like God of
games of
War.
service.
Game bounce in, play the rounds are quick. Rainbow Six, then you can bounce out again. And I think that's what Helldivers. I know the levels or each match is quite. Was it like 30 minutes sometimes, depending when you get to the bases?
Yeah.
So they're not short
there does seem to be
matches.
variants.
No.
But it's fast paced and it keeps the mind active, I think, and that's why I think it's more popular because it's just like everyone bounces in and
More
it's that rush thing
accessible.
like Power Worlds as well. Everyone's like just jumping on the hype train. New game comes out, they bombard it.
No, it makes
Like
sense.
kids
Yeah,
at
you do see
Christmas,
that.
get bored, so then move to the next game.
Scott, what do you think?
Oh, you see that spread like wildfire, though, eh? That hype, the hype machine, and it just propelled something like Power World up into the stratosphere. I think it's happening the same thing in Helldivers, and I think that's a perfect example of why this should happen with PlayStation going forward. It's hard to say because you just mentioned God of War, or I did rather. The way it didn't come out simultaneously on both platforms, you missed that wave.
Yeah.
But Helldivers clearly shows that can work to great advantage. And when I'm looking at back in the past, what kind of games have come out and have missed that day and date and have suffered because of it, the biggest one on my mind, it comes up every time, is Days Gone. Now, Days Gone has other issues. It's not a 10 out of 10 game. Was it going to sell triple if you put it on Steam? No, likely not. But I would like to believe there would have been enough inspiration there to at least keep the concept of number 2 on the board a little longer.
So let me take it from a different approach then. If PlayStation doesn't do day and date, and here's my reasoning why. They put it on PlayStation. It gives you a reason to get a PlayStation. So like many of us, both Steve and I have a PS5 and a PC, right? You have an Xbox, Scott. We have an Xbox and a PC. So Xbox titles right now go day and date. They go console, PC, Game Pass. You are everywhere with Xbox, right? Like that's their whole mantra is to be you can play anywhere. So PlayStation, what they've done is they're like, no, you want the God of Wars, you want the Uncharted, you want the Last of Us, you get it on PlayStation. And that's a push. And it's worked. They are winning. Okay, so prime example.
That's true.
Right?
We do have to keep that in mind. They are winning the race right now.
That's the other side of it, okay?
Do you think that's why Nintendo was so popular? Because all the popular games they had was just for their platform.
I think that's a very strong reason why Nintendo's alive and well to this day. I think you're right.
Where else do you get Mario?
We'll never see Zelda and Mario jump to another console. That is truly not going to happen.
Which is odd, right? When you think about the possibilities that could have an influx on. So here's PlayStation's model right now. They put it on day one for PlayStation. Players come over, they swarm, right? God of War Ragnarok comes in, everybody buys it up, loves it, has a great time. Now, a year goes by, they're like, hey, this has been sitting around dormant now. We need another influx of players. You know what we should do? We should launch it on Steam. So then all that hype you've heard, if you're only on Steam, you don't have a PlayStation 5, you now have the opportunity to get it over on Steam and go, hey, man, all I've heard is good things. This game sounds incredible. I saw my buddy play it on PS5. Holy crap, did I ever miss out because I don't have a PlayStation? So now they get another influx of players, right? So do you gobble it all up in a day and date launch like Helldivers? Or do you wait and maybe 6 months, a year later when the player base has died off to then get another influx? here's the other side of it too.
I think that's a good idea if it's planned well.
Let me
you know what?
toss
They
a
could-
wrinkle
they could-
into this plan, though. Hang on. I'm almost there. I'm almost done. Let me toss a wrinkle into this thing. God of War is different than Helldivers 2 in one particular reason. Helldivers 2 is a games of service. God of War is a single-player game. Makes a difference, right?
That's a good distinction because I think that would work. The spin it up a year later on the Steam release, I think that's a great idea if it is a games of service because you're always kind of trying to hunt for that new growing population limit, and that has a lot of interest to me. I think if it goes too quietly though, when it comes to Steam, almost nobody takes note. So it really, I think it's up to the developers, up to the platform, PlayStation itself, to really market that well enough. If I know Ghost of Tsushima is coming to PC a year later, I'll remember to check in on it a year later.
But the thing is, the problem is when it comes out on console, then a year later on PC, I think, like you said, the hype's already gone. And if I knew I had to wait a year before a game that's all over the social medias and, you know, all the trailers, all the story and that.
Spoilers.
I probably wouldn't bother playing it because you've probably read or heard about it so many times. You might just, if it's in a bargain bin or something or in a sale, then you might just pick it up then.
Is there something to do with the fact that this is a games of service, right? It's a co-op experience. So the more people you have playing, the better. Yeah. Where God of War gives you the opportunity to go, okay, single player. So when you play it, you're really just done, right? And then they gave us Valhalla and sucked me right back in. So like there's later DLC to come out. So then on the other side of it is then you just put out a complete edition a year later, like they did with Horizon, right? They did that with Horizon Forbidden West. They put out a complete edition, and then they give them another SKU to sell, not only on the PlayStation Store, but then over on PC as well, right? So you see that jump, that move, and go, hey,
go ahead.
And the merchandise.
Yeah. Go ahead, Scott.
I have an interest. My thoughts for day and date on Steam release. The issue with PC is something that I have. We were working with Ratchet and Clank, and I had to turn that all the way down.
Yeah,
my computer wanted to explode the moment the menu opened up because the game is just that advanced. It speaks well to the PlayStation 5, really, but I'm missing that hardware. So I think part of the reason it doesn't launch day and date, at least up until this point, has been the disparity between the two versions. There's always, or seemingly always, this year and last, any PC release is muddled with problems, and a lot of the times crashing. And I think maybe management is worried that that's a dampening effect. So we're better just to not bother with it. We'll let it come out on PlayStation. Hits perfectly as it's supposed to. I mean, that's the idea. They never do, but hits perfectly. Great launch. All right, we've established another hit in the book. It's a safe route.
But here's the other side of it too, though. If you're a studio developing for one platform, all you have to worry about is PlayStation, right? All of a sudden now, if you're like a Ubisoft and you go, okay, we're going to be launching on Xbox, PlayStation, Stadia at one point, right? Steam, like here, there, like Luna, like they are literally everywhere. Sometimes Switch, sometimes not. It just depends, right? But all of a sudden now that SKU goes from 1 to like 5, 6, whatever, to make sure that you're here, there, and then to make sure it all works technically.
And then the development, you got to open another couple buildings to house everybody to build these different versions and stuff too. And
that's just it.
We're not developers. I don't have a perfect idea of it, but it makes it much more busy.
Yeah, there's a lot more work to go in to make sure that it works on PlayStation and that it works on PC. But it's not like it's going to then Xbox. Man, I'm so curious this week with
we've
Xbox.
had it the other way around. We've had games that have been designed on PC, and then didn't do so well on console. Cyberpunk. I think it was.
Yep, you beat me to it, Steve. Absolutely, right? There is that too, that just, it didn't work. In fact, it bricked consoles. Right?
Oh, that's inexcusable at that point. Do we know if City Skylines 2 is good now? I'll say good because I bet it worked earlier, but that was one.
Right?
I'm not sure if that's on console and PC as well as the first game was. That's what makes me think that's the case.
Yeah.
But that's one that I never really liked it on console, but obviously PC works so much better. PlayStation doesn't have so many games that come to mind that are similar like that. But just because I don't have the hardware, of course I would love it on PC.
I'd love to be on a fly in a wall right now over a PlayStation and go, holy crap, look at Helldivers, guys. Should we do more of this? Right? But again, I think it comes down to the fact that this is a games of service model. It's co-op. Yeah. It needs a player base. It needs an install, right? So Arrowhead got real lucky, I think, on timing. Came in there when there's a bit of a lull going on right now, right? So there's a couple games coming out, a couple of things, but nothing of that AAA nature that we get from PlayStation. You take a look at the rest of the year. What are we getting?
A quadruple A game coming out soon.
So according to Yves Guillemot, Skull and Bones. That's because it took them a decade to build it. That's not our fault. Like, it's still either way, right? Like, that's on you guys, not us. So, but when we get into PlayStation's lineup, what do they have this year? Anything?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right? They have Helldivers. Okay, now what? All third-party stuff. Like, when's the showcase come? That last showcase we had out of PlayStation, I was like, it's all third-party.
Didn't do much for you.
No, it really didn't. There's some cool stuff, right? And then they get the PSVR 2, and there's only 2, and not one first-party studio is working on a PSVR game. That's a whole other topic of the show.
No, that was a sad violin began.
That was a couple of podcasts ago, wasn't it?
That was our very first one. Yeah. So if you haven't seen that, I highly recommend that you go check that one out. But it gets onto this game service model.
F for respects.
But when they get into Destiny, right? Destiny, the third game, you launch that day and date. Dude, that's a massive install base. They're already multi-platform when they go to console because they're launching on PlayStation and they are on Xbox. So do you bring that to PC next too? Wouldn't that make sense? Install base is there. You get to play with everybody. It's got cross-play, which is the most important feature, right? To be able to play wherever you are. It's up to you now, which is nice to see that shift, isn't it? Like, there's still games I can't play with my brother on PlayStation that I can play on Xbox. He actually bought an Xbox. So we can then link up and play together, which is great. But at the same time, if he's got it with his friends over there on PlayStation, and I got it with my friends over on Xbox, and we still want to hang out and play, sometimes it's nice to be able to do that. We've seen that big shift thanks to Fortnite and Rocket League.
Then you have to jump onto Sea of Thieves.
Dude, Sea of Thieves is really good. I like Sea of Thieves. But
it is really good. But you've brought up the question in my mind. If this Xbox stuff does happen to go through in the way that it's rumored, how am I going to connect with somebody on a PlayStation? Are we going to have a third-party entity that's doing friend making, running friends list between the two? How does that run? Do I have to make a PlayStation account and link them? I don't think that would ever happen.
No, just go on Discord.
Yeah.
That would be the way.
Anyhow, that'll be tied to.
Yeah, just link your Discord and everybody jump into a Discord and away you go, right? I think that's going to be, a major move. Thursday is going to be an interesting day. That, without a doubt, right? I think Thursday is going to be a very interesting day. They just announced that they're doing a podcast over on the official Xbox podcast about their business model and how that's going to transform things. But when you take a look at the future,
the biggest viewed thing in a long time.
Oh man, isn't it? It's going to be there's a lot of questions going on right now, without a doubt. But when we pull back in the reins and go back into the world of PlayStation and their games of service model, you take a look at Jade Raymond's game. What is that game? Because it always slips my mind now for some reason.
Not Foam Stars.
No, that's Square Enix.
Is it the
crap? I can't believe I'm going blank on it. I gotta look it up now. It's gonna drive me nuts.
Play games something. It's.
You just make.
I feel like you're gonna read it off. I'm gonna go. That's how my memory works. Loose threads everywhere.
It is like on the tip of my tongue.
Fair Games?
Fair Games. Thank you. There it is.
I knew games was part of it. I knew it.
But it's another games of service. Does that launch day and date? Wouldn't that make sense? PlayStation install base is big, without a doubt. But you're not going to pull everybody. Not everybody cares either, right? The different part about it is that it is actually competitive. Where Helldivers is not. Helldivers is just straight up co-op, right? But you get into Fair Games, there's a competitive side of that. What about Cocoon? Cocoon's coming out this year.
Oh, Cocoon is a single player only though, on Xbox at least.
Maybe there's another
Cocoon 1000 earlier this year on the Xbox app.
I was thinking there's another game. Hang on, I'm thinking. PlayStation.
Well, how could they really guarantee, because it needs to be competitive in the case of a games of service, I agree there.
Yeah.
But what if adding PlayStation and PC together, is that going to cause too many issues, too much complication? Is there a lot of kind of balancing that goes on just to marry the two? That's what I wonder.
the problem when it comes down to competitive gaming is that PC will always outbeat console. Right? I think that's
unless you have a Chronos on your on your PlayStation.
there is that, yeah, absolutely. Right? I'm trying to find that other
Cheaters.
game. Oh man, it was there. I had it. You guys. Got fair games. Still hurt by the fact that The Last of Us doesn't have a multiplayer. That one bites.
Yeah,
Right?
and maybe Xbox can pick that up.
Who knows? They might put it in the third one.
Doubt it.
That's kind of what I'm hoping for. Actually, is they'll
Yeah.
just learn
The
from it
final.
and put it in the third. Give you the Lost Levels expansion, but multiplayer. Done.
Well, actually, it'll be an extra. They'll release The Last of Us Part 3, and then they'll say next year we'll bring out the multiplayer part for it.
Oh man.
Tune in next year for Last of Us Part 3 remastered.
Find it.
Announced on the release day.
Yeah, either way, it slipped my mind now. I can't remember what the heck that game was, but it was similar to the world of Cocoon. I swore it was called Cocoon, but maybe it's not. It's something else like that, though. That's why it's on the tip of my tongue. But
It's a
yeah,
very puzzle game.
no, it's another competitive game, right? So they've gone to this live service game. They talked about how they're going to go to 12. Now they cut that number down from 12 to like 6. And all of a sudden now, okay, you have Marathon, you have Fair Games, and then you have whatever I thought the other game was called. I can't remember now. It's gonna drive me absolutely crazy. I'll think of it when we're done the podcast.
It bothers.
Right?
Yeah.
Like that's what's gonna happen.
That bothers me so much every time that happens. Like,
Yeah. Oh man, I'm gonna keep looking it up. You guys keep going, but yeah, it is definitely one of those things. Where does this lie? Does this make sense for the future of PlayStation to do this? I think it really comes down to that.
well, you
right?
bring up Marathon, and Marathon is by Bungie. Bungie is kind of their in-house experts on games of service. I bet Bungie is looking at Helldivers now and insisting we must release on anywhere we're available, really, on smart fridges if you can.
Yeah, I think just more the merrier, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I think that's really what it comes down to. Is that if you can get in more hands of the gamers, then that's really where it's going to shine. And I think,
If everyone gets it all at the same time,
yeah,
like I said, if you get console and PC, then everyone will spend their money, and they don't want to.
Actually,
Then everyone gets to play it all at the same time instead of waiting a year
I
later and know all
suppose-
about it.
a lot of my technical issues that I foresee, I suppose you could stop that by just putting a barrier between the two pools. There's no crossplay at first. We'll work on it. And that would be acceptable. That would make a lot of people really angry, but those same people are angry no matter what you do.
yeah, you're definitely not going to be able to please everybody, right? That without a doubt. But you're going to be hitting on.
Well,
points
that's what
for
gets to
some.
my that kind of toxicity is what I mentioned at the beginning. My out. I don't like that kind of negativity. Just a slight change in details. Oh, that ruins my day.
Yeah, but I think it's when they pick on the developers and the team, like they get personal
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
get more direct and DM them kind of thing. I think that's bang out of order.
No, and what we do is offer constructive feedback, and what these people do is not constructive most of the time, or it's into the wrong channels. It's misspent.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think people just need to chill out. At the end of the day, these are just games, right? And we're supposed to be here to have a good time. But if the developer has the right, then just cancel it straight up. Like The Last of Us, they said this doesn't work. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Or they have to change their whole model in the games of service. We saw PlayStation push that. We're going to go games of service now. We're games of service. We're going to have 12. Now we cut it back to 6 because it's not hitting. You can't just throw them all out there and then have something stick. And then it doesn't stick, right? Helldivers 2, I think, just hit a sweet spot with a lull right now in many major AAA games. The biggest competition I think it had was probably Suicide Squad, which is something completely different, right? And it doesn't really fit. So when you get to that games of service and the roadmap, and I was in there today and I'm checking it out. I'm looking at a bunch of stuff, right? Like their whole, you go in there and you spend the in-game currency and you get all these cosmetics and stuff. Pretty cool. There's enough there to grind for. Like there's a lot to do. I'm like, huh.
A new
Interesting to
Joker?
see.
I think I read you talking about game services, like we were talking about people bouncing from game to game. And I believe that I read somewhere that Power World has already lost so many thousands of players now playing Helldivers. and they're wondering if they're going to come out with new content to keep these people entertained, really, on Power World.
Well, there's still something we're trying to grow out of from 2023, which is just the jam-packed scheduling. So I foresee that being an issue, and I think that's a good sign that that is still an issue. We only, as gamers, consumers, only have so many hours of the day that they're going to want to divide up. So you're going to see one take from the other, and I think PlayStation would do well to notice that as well. You don't want to launch another thing and starve out Helldivers 2 right now. So I'm a little worried that this success will actually rework Sony's plans in a negative way. But that's not something I'm terribly worried about. That's just a possibility.
That's I never even thought of that. I just think they're looking to restructure maybe some of their ideas, right? When you get into, like you said, Fair Games Marathon, we don't have an official release date either on what's happening there. But it is interesting to see what their next games as service model is really going to look like, because people are hungry, right? People are starving. Like you say, Steve, Pal World now, they're done.
Yeah.
Right? What else is
people
next?
People have put hours and hours. The man, I mean, some people are so creative, and, you know, I applaud for some of the work they've done, like building their base up and it's like a castle or a mansion or something. But I just don't have that time and patience to spend all the hours and go out crafting wood and that just to build something.
Concord is the game I was thinking about. I'm like, it's got something like Cocoon, but it's not. It's Concord. Sorry, that's where I was at. I knew I'd find it. I knew it. Yeah, Firewalk Studios is working on a game called Concord, which is a games of service PvP coming out. Again, games of service, right? Do they launch this? Where is it coming? Here you go. Introduction, Concord, a new PvP multiplayer first-person shooter from Firewalk Studios, coming to PS5 and PC. This is PlayStation's
that
move.
Might be the opportunity for another.
Here we go again, right? So we'll get our codes. We were fortunate.
Hopefully it fares better than Hyenas.
Ah, man, they scrapped that before that even launched. That's interesting,
it didn't even
right?
launch. That was sad. That was just one of the. I was so somehow hooked by the tiny teaser I'd seen. I just wanted it to work out.
The problem is it's all cinematic, right? Show me the good stuff. Show me what you got. That's what I really want to see. Are you going to show me just a cinematic? Hello, Killzone 2. Everybody remembers that trailer. And then we got the game out. This isn't it. Like, this is not what you showed us. So, yeah. Even the box art.
I would like to again declare that I totally called that. I saw right through that Killzone 2 footage instantly. My friend, the very console warring PlayStation friend of mine, was so ready for me to admit defeat. Now it did come out and it was a great game regardless. We both won.
Oh yeah, well that's the other side of it too. But when Concord comes out, it's PC and it's PlayStation 5, right? So does then Fair Games, I almost forgot the game again. Fair Games and Marathon do the same thing. Sign. No, it's not, right? I'm already worried about. I was already worried about Fair Games to start with, and it's already slipping my mind. I don't know why, but yeah, I keep losing it. Jade Raymond's a legend, so I'm definitely curious to see what she creates over there. But are we gonna take a look at Scott? What's the game we just played? It's with Embark Studios. We just played the demo or the preview program.
The finals.
The finals. Thank you, dude. Who's talking about that game now? You hear that? It's called Crickets.
I've been meaning to jump back in.
Nobody's playing it.
But I haven't jumped back in.
It's gone real quiet, right?
I'm part of the problem.
Million players in day 1, day 2, and then all of a sudden it's just gone. Why? It's competitive games of service. How do you keep going? Do you keep going? I think some people are still playing it, but I don't see anybody on my friends list. I don't see anybody on Twitter talking about it. I just don't see the conversation carried over. Right now, it's all Helldivers 2. Everybody's on it. Everybody's loving it, and they can't get enough. I'm hoping the Arrowhead can keep this momentum going, right? This is very exciting for them to hit the sweet spot.
How do you hold on to that?
I don't know. This is the other side, right? Go ahead,
Well,
Steve.
the thing is, we talked about it.
Actually, there's a ton of ideas you can feed into it.
Yeah, but it's like Starship Troopers when we played that. The same thing, just hordes and hordes of bugs go to certain checkpoints and sort of stand the ground.
But it's gone.
So
you could have.
Yeah, but because we found it a bit repetitive.
Yeah, it's that repetition that I see being an issue. But I think, well, I say that with 4 hours in the game so far, but I think Helldivers could add a lot of really easy expansions just because of the way it's structured. There's different planets, different sections on planets. You could easily say, hey, we've received a distress call from another ship. Now we're fighting on a ship and it's something different. That wouldn't make much sense unless it's the AI going rogue or whatever, but you could do that. Why not?
I think they have the opportunity to basically create and do whatever they want at this point, right? Like they are at this certain level. I think that they've opened themselves up to and be so creative and push the boundaries. We're fighting alien bugs. Like, does it really matter what else we shoot? Probably not, right? It's still gonna feel like Helldivers.
I haven't fought any of the AI yet. Have you?
No, we're still relatively early, right?
No, there's, yeah. I'm wondering how much that's going to change the gameplay, because that'll give me an idea of how long this game will really have legs for.
I don't know.
I'm worried again that.
Go ahead.
The PC, well, your brother burns games fast. But, he'd be a good indicator. He's a good canary in the coal mine. But I think, what if this was that hype? That hype swells, jumps onto PC, PlayStation, same time, but it burns out just as quickly for that reason. We don't have that 6 months, a year down the line. Here's a refresh. It's hit really well, but this is going to be the example going forward, because nobody really knows, I don't think. But
the only way they're going to
so
do that
strong
is to keep the content frequent to keep people interested. Because if they just say, "Oh, I've just dropped 100 hours and I'm doing the same thing over and over again," they're just going to bounce to the next game that people are talking about.
I'm curious to see if people are talking about this next week. Right? Yeah. Like that's how fast we move in this industry. One game comes in on the week, by the next week we're on to something else. So I know we're obviously in a bit of a unique situation to be able to do that, but others do the same thing too, to an extent, right? They'll be in there. I know people right now, our buddy Nate is all over Pal World. Him, his brothers, like they're all in and they're there doing it nightly. And they're hooked right now. And I was talking to Nate about it. I'm like, dude, Pokemon with guns, just not for me. And that's just, he goes, I didn't think another. Oh, they're at a whole other level.
They're going to be there for another 1,000 hours easily. Yeah, we've lost them for the spring.
So when you take a look at what else is coming next, is there something that can pull people away from Helldivers? I don't know if there's anything coming out right now that's going to pull anyone away, which is an interesting take to think about, right? So it's very cool that they've been able to kind of take this swell of gameplay right now, and hopefully they can keep it going. But I think the biggest thing for us, let's come back next week and see if we're still talking about it. And if we see anybody else still talking about it. And if it does, then they've got something, right? I think that's if there people are still on this in a week to 2 weeks, there's something going. There's something cooking. And granted, we're having a great time. It is absolute chaos. So this is going to bring us right into, what are we playing, boys? Let's get into it, because there's a lot of stuff that we are definitely playing. And we got another 20 minutes. I know it's going to take us 20 minutes to get through, because there's a lot of things happening. It's been a lot of fun lately. Scott, I'm going to kick it over to you first. What have you been playing?
Well, I just finished The Rustler. The Rustler was a game we had for the show a long, long time ago. I don't believe I even had it originally. I think that was Corey assigned to that one. But I spent some time in it, was really hooked. And then I kind of went through a bunch of Grand Theft Auto games. By the end of that list, what was left? Well, The Rustler's kind of like Grand Theft Auto 1 or 2.
Kind of, yep.
I couldn't tell you. I was a tadpole, but
it was go away.
It was really, really good, is what I mean to say. And I'm kind of sad that it was a little buggy as time went on. I kind of found the faults in the game, but I got all the way through it, and now I really wish there were a Rustler 2. I'll have to do some research to see how likely that is. By the end, you're just a awful person in the medieval times. You're like it kind of reminds me of Grand Theft Auto, Rockstar's The Bully, but the bully if you were in like the 11th century or something. Like it's brutal. But there's jousting matches, there's sword fights.
He looks like the bully, doesn't he?
Great time. He does. He actually really does look like the bully.
Is that all you've been playing? What else have you been playing?
Well, we've been on a lot of PUBG lately, and I've been really enjoying that, which has actually led to me to play it on my own, and that's nowhere near as good of a time. I've had some awful moments in that game, frustrating, really angering moments, and then you guys sign in 2 hours later, and I'm right back in. Let's play some more.
It's a different feel versus going solo in a team, right? There's a big change in the dynamic of that game, which is very cool. But yeah,
I've got friends that play Fortnite, but then they're trying to pull me in.
yeah, sure.
But
I need to
first of
get
all, I'm
better.
not sure if it's downloaded. But secondly, this is like the adult Fortnite to me. And I was around when it was first.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. Did you guys catch the whole Fortnite Disney thing?
I did not know.
Something.
Oh, Steve.
Yeah, they've joined
I know.
forces in what could be one of the largest cooperations ever.
Yeah, it is massive.
I saw something. Someone mentioned it was like a theme park.
Yeah,
The way the different.
I think
areas.
that was part of it, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get everything that Disney owns in the world of Fortnite. So they put a $15 billion investment into Epic. Take a minute.
Incredible number.
Breathe that number in, everybody. $15 billion invested into Epic.
I'll just take the interest.
Yeah, absolutely. Unbelievable.
What bank account do you think that goes into? Just an aside.
Tim Sweeney's offshore account somewhere in the islands. Nobody ever sees it.
Yeah, not one tax dollar was
unreal. But basically, Steve, what's going on is that they are bringing everything over from Disney, like Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, all the IPs. ESPN is there. Like, everything is there for you to watch and do this and do that.
Yeah,
it's hard to say who's not already part of the Fortnite universe, though. Are we going to get? Do you think? I'm being a little silly here, but do you think we're going to get a lot of development in future Star Wars projects or Disney products, but they look like Fortnite now? It'd be too easy to just take those characters and put them in Fortnite.
Wasn't Clone Wars similar? The animated Clone Wars.
Clone Wars is cool, and if you talk to Kyle, he absolutely loved the Clone Wars. He says it's a fantastic cartoon.
I haven't seen that one.
Kyle's a big Star Wars
Fortnite
fan.
Style.
Yep.
It's that Fortnite style.
Yeah. It's very interesting. I'm very curious to see what's going to happen. I'm definitely going to jump in. I believe it's still on my Xbox. I know Garrett plays it, so it's got to be on one of my consoles. Pretty sure it's on PlayStation.
They should do a fighting game. They should do a Smash Bros. Replacement. Now,
man.
and hear me out. Fortnite is the Smash Brothers of shooters, right? Has almost every universe known to man. Kratos is fighting Master Chief. There's all sorts of shenanigans. Just make that into a multiverses. It's almost like the idea has been done, but not quite well enough.
Well, there was a multiverses. There was a PlayStation All-Stars. I could really use a PlayStation All-Stars too. I really could. That was a cool game. That was a unique game. Just wasn't able to stick around, but man, yeah,
just
interesting to see.
Do it in international waters. Fortnite is the international waters between all the consoles.
It is absurd what they do, without a doubt. Steve, what about you? What have you been up to? What have you been playing?
Well, I'm going to start off with PUBG with you guys, and I'm no good at this game. I find that I spend more time.
A lot of good shots.
What's frustrating is getting all the way to the inner circle to die with one shot after doing all the looting and finding what gun's a good one, what scope, do this, do that, and then just wait there
every time,
and then just get hit by something and think, damn, I've done all that work. I've got all my armor, I've got my helmet, and I got hit. So I find that a bit frustrating, but it is a lot of fun though. I do really enjoy that. And the other games is just what we've touched on, which is like Helldivers 2. Played quite a bit of that. So I want to play a lot more. I want to upgrade my character and get more equipment. That's
the fun part for me. I like that.
Yeah, I do like the airdrops in this game.
Yeah.
Providing you're not underneath them. which happens a few times. And then
we were in a chain of that earlier.
And obviously there's Skull and Bones, the beta, which took me by surprise because I was in an on whether to sort of jump in. I had it downloaded, and I'll just give it a go. I just played 10 minutes and then bounced to do something else, and then a couple of hours in, it was like, this is really good. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm
spoken.
Yeah,
I was spoken like a true Briton.
I'm just hoping it's not going to be like the normal Ubisoft where you have to keep talking to loads of people and then going across the map to talk to someone else. And could you just send this letter?
Yeah,
You know,
the whole
kind of
fetch
like
quest thing, sure.
the Assassin's Creed stuff.
No, man, Assassin's Creed.
I'm really mad that I didn't get to play the beta. Like I've downloaded it twice now, maybe even 3 times.
Man.
This last time was on the Xbox. I was super excited. I'm getting more hype as we're getting closer to release here, and
Yeah.
the download did not finish. 3 days then later, where the beta's over, cancel.
Oh man. So have you not played
I'm
it at
still
all,
looking
then,
forward
Scott?
to it. No, all I have is the
man.
memories of the older games to scratch from.
Really? Okay, so you're kind of going off like Black Flag and Rogue from back in the day, really, right?
Yeah, and I'm hoping it's very similar.
And I've not
I've
played
heard some
those,
thing though,
so
but
this is new for me.
Oh,
I've not played Black Flag or anything. So.
Interesting, Steve. Interesting. So yeah, to really get into what I've been playing, Skull and Bones, like you say, right? So Skull and Bones is like back in the day, but brought onto the PS5 and the Xbox Series X version now. It's been definitely upgraded. The water, the white caps, like I'm gonna give myself a mini review from just the beta, just playing the beta. So the white caps look like crap. They are horrible. They are fuzzy golf balls coming at you. Yeah. So Crystal and I were sitting there playing. Crystal looks over. I said, "Look at this!" And you're on the beach. You're standing there, and the waves are coming in on the beach on the water, and it's just white fuzz coming at you. And I was like, "You got to be kidding me, right? Like this is horrible, horrible."
For a game where you're looking at the ocean almost the entire time.
And these white caps are just balls of fuzz. I'm like, what happened here? Have you not seen Sea of Thieves? The white caps, the water are absolutely gorgeous.
Was it like that on day one though? The waves.
I don't remember that, Steve. So this is the thing. This is like my fourth time
weird.
playing the beta, right?
I'm
Fourth
just talking about
time
Sea
in.
of Thieves. Like when it first come out, I know it was empty, but I think the waves were cool though. I thought
Absolutely. I don't think they ever looked like this, right? So besides that
I'm picturing
part,
almost a toonish kind of look to it that saved it from any of that.
Yeah, there's definitely a different art style direction that Sea of Thieves has taken, but you know it's going to get compared to Sea of Thieves every time this comes up in conversation. How can it not? Sea of Thieves it's taken Xbox to that other level. This is their games of service, and they've done it season after season after season. We're on season 11 now of Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
Right? It tells you how far it's come. In those 11 seasons, Skull and Bones has been in development. So I'm just saying, right? So when you come in,
I have one piece of comparison though. Sea of Thieves has been out all this time, and they have not produced one song, not one banger song.
Skull and Bones.
Skull and Bones song is still playing in my head.
It still keeps trickling through, man. Yeah, but
more than I even want it to, but it's there.
Besides the fuzzy water effect, there was once where I was looking through a spyglass, and the textures popped in on the island. I was like, oh no, like that shouldn't happen.
Yeah, we're not playing PUBG. That's not supposed to happen.
Well, exactly, right? This is made for next gen consoles, or now what we call current gen, Xbox Series X and S and PS5. So when I'm on shore, on my boat in the water, what I see should be just more detailed when I go through my spyglass, because it's like a zoom, right? Like it's like a telescope. So why is the texture popping in? Like it goes fuzzy, blurry textured, and then pop in with blades of grass sticking. I'm like, this is bad. That part is bad.
Is that what anti-aliasing is? And is that some of those after systems? I'm not technical enough to know exactly what but if that is the case, that maybe that is being suppressed because it's beta. Maybe it's not fully active.
Well, that's
a technical
right?
thing that I'm sure they're going to have to grapple with.
Things could change before release.
This game has been in development for 10 years. Why does that need any more
That's
work?
true.
Right? Like that, it's not like it's just been in development and suddenly now, hey, we're going to release into early access. Things are going to get upgraded. When this game launches on day one, it should be damn near perfect. Right? Yeah. Straight
That's
up.
what people be looking for.
Well, man, you know all the
complaints.
It's been delayed so many times.
Oh, yeah.
Is it going to launch into early access? I've never really considered that. I thought it was full release.
No, it's full release, but that's what I'm saying, right? If it was only 2, 3 years, 4 years in development, we're going to release into early access. So look for this to be upgraded, that to be upgraded. Nothing. No. We're going full release here in a matter of days. They're not going to fix this texture popping. That's just going to be an issue in the game, right? Like that is inexcusable.
Well, let me put it this way.
Especially out of Ubisoft.
Pal World doesn't have any of that.
Pal World, oh, those graphics are horrible. But it's
well, granted, yeah, it does get a pass there, but they didn't have the 8-year development cycle. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, but okay, getting past the 2 graphical glitches that I had, I'm really enjoying the game. I really am enjoying going out, setting sail, gathering resources, upgrading my pirate cosmetically to look how I want her to look, right? So now I got my hat on now.
It's
and I got
good loop.
Dude, it's cool. I got that grind now, right? And then the further I got through at the beta, I'm like, ooh, now this is opening up. Oh, damn, now I'm over here and this is gonna open up. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Now I get to go do this. Very, very cool loop. I'm walking into buildings. So you have a pirate hub world, and I'm walking in to go get my pirate gear to loot up, to then put on a hat and whatever. I got a load screen. Why do I have a load screen in a hub world that isn't very, very big? GTA. Let's do this. Red Dead Redemption. You walk into all those stores from the world. No load screen whatsoever. Why, a game 10 years in development, am I going to a hub, which gets a load screen? Small, but still gets a load screen. It doesn't automatically. I can't go Sea of Thieves. You go from island to island to island to island to island. No load screen. You just jump off your ship on the land. Here you go. No, you got to transition from you disembark, I think is what it is. Disengage.
That's disappointing.
And then you load in the hub. Man,
there'd be an easy way of hiding these kind of load screens. That's been done since the dawn of time, even since Morrowind. But
I think
I think of Mass Effect and how there's a ton of different ways they hide that very well.
It's when you get close to the island,
you would load in.
Yeah.
Sorry, Scott.
It would just, if you're going to disembark, it should load you entirely. Then load the entire island. Or if you're not going to do that, as you're walking through the island, take that time to load up the shops. You're not going to get there instantly.
I think they're trying to save time from mooring up your boat. I think they're just trying to save time that when you get near the island, you just hit a button and then load screen, and then you're on the island instead of trying to park your boat up, so to speak, or moor it up.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is like there's a lot of boats. When you go there, you see everybody else's ship around too. Not everybody could dock. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. But once I am docked on there, I should be able to walk to the shops and start engaging, not go to a load screen, and everything hits with a load screen.
Especially if you're
because you can't
if you're in some air traffic control.
Yeah,
if you're sitting in air traffic control, they're waiting for the apron to clear. That's a perfect time to load the game.
Yeah. But besides just doing that, I've had a really good time. I got some of the quests going on, and I'm like, okay, cool. Now I'm becoming more and more of a pirate. I'm starting to build my infamy up and go on. The cool part is too, once we actually get our codes from Ubisoft, get back into the game, all the progress from the beta carries over, so I get to just move over and continue on. So I'm looking forward to that, so I don't have to start the tutorial over for the 5th time. I don't want to do that, which is why I kind of held off. You're gonna have
the advantage.
Yeah.
By the way, did you lose your ship at all? Did you get into a fight and lose your ship?
No. Did you?
Yep. Of course I did.
Did you?
That's just me. So I was just minding my own business as you do, and have a ship, and then I got the spike glass out. All right, it's getting a bit close. I already had my cannons ready.
Yeah.
Then we started going into a bit of a battle, and then I was trying to board his ship, and I had trouble sending the old ropes over with the hooks. So anyhow, he sunk me, and then you sort of end up back at the base, and you get loaned a boat. But if you lose that one, you lose everything, and you have to quickly go to where your boat sank, and then try and reclaim all your belongings before other pirates get there.
That is the most Dark Souls. That's the most pirate thing I've heard so far about the game. I love that.
That is kind of cool. No, I lost my stuff.
Yeah, so they loan you a boat, or the shipmaster gives you another boat. But he said if you lose this one, you lose everything. So, but you have to hurry up and get to the location where you sunk your ship to get all your loot back, or what you claimed, like all your cannons and your woods, like for repairs and stuff, and your food.
So I'm out to sea, and I see these 2 guys going at it. They're back and forth, they're shooting each other. Dude sinks the one, and then that guy's health is super low. So I came in and third partied, leveled his ship, took his stuff, and took off. I was like, hey, it's a pirate's world, man.
As well.
Oh, yeah. Is there proximity voice chat? That's very important to me for this game.
I didn't see any of that. I didn't experience any voice chat whatsoever in the game.
I
No.
want to
You want the Call of
exchange
Duty
insults
experience.
in a drive-by. I do. I actually do. Maybe that's something wrong with me, but
Yeah, no, definitely is.
I know what I'm
Definitely is.
gonna do in that game though. I'm definitely gonna be the belligerent attacker.
Well, it's
That's my
cool.
job in Elite Dangerous. I'm a privateer. You can pay to keep me away, or you can pay to keep me with you.
The cool part is too, you can go and build your fleet up, and then you can go and put
Yeah.
them on like trade routes and stuff. So all of a
Yeah.
sudden now they're doing the work for you
That's
to
cool.
gather resources and things. I'm like, man, there's a lot more to it than what we've seen
Oh.
and jumped in so early with the beta. What's up, Steve?
Do you know when you start off with the small boat and then you go out and then you get attacked by sharks
Yes.
and it I thought that's so cool with your spears and you get just throw out the sharks and you go and obviously get their carcass
Yeah.
and take it back and cook it up and eat it.
Oh,
That
you would
is a Black
definitely
Flag thing.
like Black Flag,
Yeah,
Steve. Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they pulled that right from the game, right? This is part of the
Remember all the
that's-
manatees and stuff?
a lot of that experience is coming from the old days of Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and you get that feel, that charm coming over into Sea of Thieves. But I do miss that Sea of Thieves. I said Sea of Thieves. It's Skull and Bones, sorry. I do miss some of the Sea of Thieves aspect to it, where you can just jump off the ship and get to the island and then fight other things. You don't get that, right? You're actually just fighting from the ship in Skull and Bones and setting it out that way. So a little bit different, but at the same time, I was really, really digging it. Jumping into other things though, as time is quickly running out. More predecessor. I cannot put that game down. I cannot put it down. It is, yeah, it's getting to be a bit of an issue. I gotta walk away. I think I played like 3 or 4 games just yesterday. It's like, man, I love this game. Like, I just love it. I can't wait to see what the new hero is at the end of the month.
Oh, you split to play some more today too.
Yeah, I played another game today so far. I'll probably play one more before calling it a night. It was such a close game. So the whole idea is to take down everybody's towers and then get to the core and take out their core. Well, it reached one point where we're at their core and we couldn't quite do it, so we had to back off. Then they got to our core and then they couldn't quite finish it. And then we went back to their core and then they finally went back to our core and got us in the fourth. It was tight. 40-minute game. It was a long game and it was just back and forth. It was awesome. Good teams. It was very, very cool. I had a ton of fun. It's those games you kind of live for, right? No.
Do you yell?
I can. Yeah, I can. But I don't mind losing in an instance like this, right? It's just when people are being dumb or ignorant or whatever, right? It's just kind of like, come on, what are you doing here? It's only a game at the end of the day, right? So there are games that I played, like we're 10 minutes into the game, which is very, very early for a MOBA. And people are going, good game, it's over. And it's like, it's not, what? We're not done.
Yeah.
Like, we're just getting started. What
See,
are you doing?
those are war veterans from League of Legends.
But I've had that before too, and then all of a sudden we win the game. I'm like, good game. Now it's a good game. The game is over, right? Like that's just. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. The whole surrender thing comes up quite often. It's just kind of either way. But when you get that sweet game happening, just like tonight, I was like, man, that was awesome. It was so much fun. And then yeah, PUBG. My wife hit the longest snipe I've ever seen, which is incredible. It was like, I think it was over 600 meters she hit last night, and it was nuts. Just
impressive.
Nuts. Very cool to see.
She went on to take the win for us as well. I spectated because I was already dead.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. I'm very fortunate.
Just don't get her a rifle for Christmas.
Yeah, no, she's not.
How far can you go, Drew? How far can you run?
Yeah, no, game and only. Games only.
Nothing with full auto.
Yeah.
Nothing with full auto. She does not let off.
Yeah, she doesn't. Yeah, no, it's a ton of fun. Very little Siege lately, but I got to get back into Siege because I got that battle pass I got to wrap up. And then the 6th Invitational is coming up, so it's one of those things that we'll be getting another operator here shortly to see who that is and get into that thing. And then I'm also working on
games as a service,
a redacted title as well that I can't get into just quite yet, that I've started and starting to get into. So a bunch on the go, but just like that, guys. Wow. Believe it or not, that's been almost an hour already. It goes fast when we kind of get in the conversation and starts rolling. But always a ton of fun. Don't forget, you can always join us live every Monday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, over on our YouTube channel. Become a member. It's quite simple. Join in the conversation when we're here live, and we'll gladly carry that conversation. But if you can't join us, then hit us up later the week after comes out the full release. And, of course, on our Fast channel, too, over on Rad TV, and a couple more in the works that are coming. So make sure you stick around. Until next week, everybody, Scott and I will be back tomorrow with ITG Daily. But until then, I'm Drew, that's Scott, and that's Steve.
And we'll see you inside the game.